All 6 Baltimore police officers charged in the death of Freddie Gray have been cleared. Prosecutors today dropped the charges facing the 3 remaining officers. 25-year-old Gray died last year after suffering a spinal injury while in police custody. The state's attorney for the city of Baltimore, Marilyn Mosby, gave a passionate explanation for her reasoning.
For those that believe that I'm anti-police, it's simply not the case. I'm anti-police brutality, and I need not remind you that the only loss and the greatest loss in all of this was that of Freddie Gray's life. For over a year, my office has been forced to remain silent on all 6 of the cases pertaining to and surrounding the death of Freddie Gray. Despite being physically and professionally threatened, mocked, ridiculed, harassed, and even sued, we've respected and fulfilled our obligation and dutiful silence in accordance with Judge Barry Williams' gag order, restricting any commentary from the state. In accordance with my oath to pursue justice over convictions, I've refused to allow the grandstanding of some and the hyperbole of others to diminish our resolve to seek justice on behalf of this young man. I was elected the prosecutor. I signed up for this, and I can take it. Because no matter how problematic and troublesome it has been for my office, my prosecutors, my family, and me personally, it pales in comparison to what mothers and fathers all across this country, specifically Freddie Gray's mother, Gloria Darden, or Richard Shipley, Freddie Gray's stepfather, goes through on a daily basis, knowing their son's mere decision to run from the police proved to be a lethal one.
CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid is in Washington. Paula, so much emotion you can see there coming from that press conference. What's your reaction to Marilyn Mosby's comments that now she'll officially lose all 6 cases?
Rena, this is the same passion that we saw over a year ago at Marilyn Mosby's press conference when she enthusiastically announced all of these charges against these 6 officers. At that time, people said, she moved very quickly to file some charges which are almost unprecedented, including murder charges against these officers. People worried that perhaps there was not enough evidence to support those kind of charges. And Rena, now we've seen in 3 separate trials, a judge has agreed. He has said, look, there was not enough evidence to support the charges you have brought. Another case was a mistrial, and so here she's dropped 2 more charges. That leaves her essentially 0 for 6 in this case. And yet she says here it is not her fault. It is a problem with the system. And while there are problems and certainly challenges with successfully prosecuting police officers, in this case, these cases, all 6 of them, the evidence was not there to support the charges she filed.
So, Paula, is that ultimately what it is? You know, there's just not enough evidence. So is that why they're dropping all the charges now? Why not give it another chance?
She said herself at the press conference there was, quote, a dismal likelihood of a conviction in these next several trials. Therefore, she felt she had to drop the rest of the charges. I think it's important to note, too, when these officers have been acquitted, even when we had the mistrial, you didn't see widespread protests or unrest in Baltimore. People have seen the evidence, and they also trust this judge. The judge who's overseen 3 of these trials, he's a former Department of Justice civil rights prosecutor. They trust him to look at the facts and look at the charges, which is why there hasn't been a lot of outcry. People have not been in the streets when they've seen the outcomes of these trials. Ultimately, it appears to this judge, to at least one jury, and to the public that the evidence was not there to support these specific charges that she filed very quickly over a year ago.
I'm curious, Paula, how is this going to affect public opinion and how people report on future police issues?
I think this is actually, if you look at the evidence and the charges, this is an example of the system working. Both sides certainly made mistakes, but when you look at the charges that she filed, it would appear that perhaps she overcharged based on the evidence that we have seen. She didn't have enough evidence to support the charges that she filed. This was not a problem of the system. This was a problem where the evidence couldn't actually result in conviction because it didn't match the charges that she had brought. You know, a lot of people have said that this kind of violence, people being injured or even killed in police custody or by police, that it's not new, but the cameras are new. And Rena, overall, I think you've seen a resurgence, a lot of people more likely to come forward, bring these stories to the attention of the press or to the attention of prosecutors. I do not think that this will dissuade people from trying to pursue justice in these cases. The specific facts of this case did not match up to the specific charges she filed. It's unique to this case and should not impact other pending cases.
Paula Reid in Washington. Thank you, Paula.